Session 3 of building trust and credibility as a sales consultant. Now, this is crucial for your success. So, just to catch up with session 1 and session 2, if you have missed out on those two sessions, do ask your leader to send you those so that you can have the full set of training notes around this important topic. So we said a couple of things over and over to at the stage. The first thing is people will buy from you if they like you, know you, and trust you. We also said that is easy in the beginning because the clients that are around you would be colleagues, friends, family, and they both like, know, and trust you. What do we do right now is we want to make sure that you're setting yourself up so that you can, in future from now on, start accessing people who does not know you. And all these tips that I'm sharing with you is setting you up so that you can build that trust inside your community. We also said that all these pointers, you can use them one by one and all of them in one go as well, because they become part of a foundation that your credibility in the marketplace can be built on. Now, you need to showcase your leadership. Why is this important? Because leaders are naturally trusted and followed. Now, the very first thing you're going to tell me maybe right now is, I am not a leader. And then I want to say to you, yes, you are. Don't confuse yourself with a lot of people always say that leaders are people who only stand on stages and lead large groups of people. A leader is literally anybody who can lead another person. So even if you can lead one person, you are a leader. Now let's look at ways that you would be leading. So first of all, you lead by example. You always need to be the first one to try out your product and to share the experiences and then guide your clients. That is how you lead. You would have purchased your Miracle Bee cream. You would have started using it and you start speaking to people and say, you know what, I never realized, how amazing it can be to have hands that don't have aches in it. I mean, sometimes my hands, they're not painful enough to take a tablet, but they just like, every now and then I like rub them. So when I started using Miracle Bee, I couldn't realize how well my hands felt. We sometimes get used to pain to such an extent that we forget that we have it. So in that way, I'm leading you right now towards a product that you never knew existed or that you never knew could work for you. You can, and I'm not saying that you should buy every product every time. I mean, it's impossible. But for you to really be a success in this business, you need to endorse your own product, which means you need to purchase that first handbag. I don't care if you purchase it on a promotion. Or get that first pair of shoes. I tell you, if you've got those products, your client sees that you are using them, they will buy from you. Host honey buying sessions. Find out from your leader what a pop-up shop is and how you can do that. Or maybe just work on one-on-one shopping. Now, what I like to do is I like to focus on one-on-one shopping with clients that I know spend a considerable amount in one go. So I would invite my client out for coffee at the local Mug and Bean, take my catalog. I'll maybe take her a small little gift because I know most probably I'm going to get about a 2,500 Rand order from her. I will be sitting there with a catalog. We'll go through the catalog, look at what is available. We know what she's purchased before, and we want to maybe complete a couple of looks. And I would very often walk away there having orders for the next 2 months. So I'll have an order for this month and already for next month, which can easily push my turnover for that client up considerably. So what I want to do is I know that when I spend that hour with my client, I'm going to come back with a return on my investment. Maybe you can just do that by inviting 3 or 4 friends to your house. And then around the coffee table, you just have your honey catalogs. You invite them with a purpose to purchase, and you guide them to make maybe their first purchase, or add on to their promotion, or add on to the previous purchases that they have made. But this is how you would lead, because you bring your value to your client and you show them that you value them. And this is one of the most important parts. When my client walks away from, not walks away from my table, when she comes home with her purchase for the very first time, when she put on that shoes, when she puts on those necklace, the earrings, whatever it is, I want her husband or significant other to say, "Oh my word, that looks so good." So I'm going to build on her confidence. I would rather turn my client away from a product than just pushing a product on her just to sell. Because when she gets home and her husband looks at her and says, "Why have you purchased that?" And you know how men can pull their face? And we all know how we feel. We'll never wear that item again just because he pulled his face. So I always want to make sure in my one-on-one sessions, I help them to choose the perfect product. The next one is to maintain transparency and integrity. Now, this matters because transparency builds trust and it reduces skepticism. Now, today we are met with a lot of skepticism on online purchases, and that excites me because it still shows me that my business is relevant. You know, some people get fooled on online shopping. When they get the item, it's not what they expected. When they get the item, they want to return it, they actually realize that they now need to figure out how to get this item back to China on their own cost. And then at the end of the day, they sit with that item, which they didn't want. So for me, that gives me an opportunity because I know I can bring a service to my client that takes out the stress of online shopping. So that is one of the things you need to know. Now, I always believe that you are very honest about what your product can and cannot do. You don't oversell and exaggerate. We don't need to. Our brand is good enough to not be blown up. So I would share with my clients specific things. Let's say, for instance, we go onto the weight loss products. I would say to my client, this is not a magic formula where you're going to pop the pills and you're going to keep on eating your donuts and slop chips and chocolates and still lose weight because it's unrealistic. There is not a weight loss program in this world that does not require you to minimize your intake and to increase your activity. So I'm going to be honest and say there's people that haven't lost 1 kilo, but all they did is continued with their eating habits and they just drank the tablets. But however, I do know that there's people that had some excellent results. So I don't need to over exaggerate that at all. The other thing that I want to do is I want to under promise and over deliver. What does this mean? As a sales consultant, you will know exactly which day you would get your stock. Now, let's say, for instance, you get your stock on a Wednesday. You're not going to tell your client you're going to deliver to her on Wednesday because what if things happen? What if the courier is late? What if you work late? What if your car breaks down? What if your child gets sick and you really can't go and pick up your parcel right now? So I would always say to my clients, I will deliver to them on a Friday afternoon onwards. But what I do is when I get my product on Wednesday, I try to go out and deliver as soon as I can after that, which means I'm giving a better service than what they anticipated. They would then in turn go and tell their friends who are shopping from somewhere else, who often have to wait 10 days or 2 weeks. No, you should shop at my honey because I tell you, she always delivers for earlier. Keep the communication also going at all times. You know, if something goes wrong, especially if my client is always used to me giving her a phenomenal service. When something goes wrong, I'm going to send her a message and say, I have to confess this week, I forgot to place your order. I have to confess this week, I overbooked myself, I overextended myself, I can only deliver your parcel by Saturday. And I have found that because I've got that transparency and integrity with them all the time, they are very forgiving for when I do make a mistake and when I need their grace. And then the last one, I want to encourage you to engage in community building. You know, this is very important because a strong community fosters loyalty and trust. I want you to create or join groups where you can engage with potential customers, host events, whether they're online or in person. Look out for those places where you can maybe go and put a table up and just present yourself in your area. I believe if you can at least once a month be at a stall or a market or a hair salon or somewhere where you can just for 2 or 3 hours put your products out, put your banner out, put your name out, you would start to build a community that know if I want honey, where will I get it? I will get it there. She's the person. Here's her number. People everywhere around you should know that you are the honey. Um, Host an event that bring people together, helping to learn, to share, to grow, or become part of events like that. Now, when you build that community around you and that brand creates a sense of belonging and trust, and that is such an important part because you started out this business. You might be in this business 10 years from now. And then by building that community around you would serve you for decades and decades to come. So I believe if you incorporate these strategies, it will help you to establish yourself as a credible and a trustworthy distributor. I know it will attract more customers, and I know you would build a thriving network. Do these incorporate these strategies as often as you can, over and over, over and over. Remember, this is not a difficult business. We've got easy concepts that you can build into your daily habits. From me, I'm Corne Roux. I'm known as your Destiny Mentor, and I hope that you have enjoyed these. I hope that you will implement them, and I know that they will bring you fruit. So until we see each other again, this is the final part in our three-part series. Do look out for our new sessions coming soon after this. Happy selling. Remember, sales is a skill, and a skill can be taught.